Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. My name is Fran, and I am one of the co-hosts of this podcast. This week, oh my gosh, this is a special episode, a special edition, a special conversation between myself and our dear friend and wonderful guest, Susie Oliver. You know her as Susie Said So. She's got a great story for us today. You're going to be so encouraged. You're going to laugh. You're going to consider all manner of things. What is the Lord asking you to do that's hard? All right. Enjoy the show, you guys. We love you so much. All right, precious people. This is a fun treat because you all love and know Susie Oliver. She's on our show all the time for Susie Said So. And let me just pause right here and say this. Susie, I've never told you this, but literally often, I can't tell you how many times, but often Angela will get some kind of message, a direct message, a text, however the people communicate with us, and they'll say, I wonder what Susie would think about this. I had one girl send me a picture of her nails when one episode we were talking about our nails, and she said, I wonder if Susie would like this color. And I just think it's so precious.
That's sweet.
It's so
I
precious.
would love that color. And you know, most of the nail polish has the name Susie in it. Like,
well,
Susie,
see?
yeah.
There you have it.
Whoever owns OPI must be a Susie or related to Susie.
They love that name.
Susie loves it.
I think it's so precious.
That
But anyway,
sweet.
people love to listen to what you have to say. But today's episode, it's just myself and Susie in the studio. Angela's work schedule is a little bonkers right now, and just pretend like she's here. But this is fun because this is kind of like a special edition. This is not Susie Said So, even though we could make it a Susie Said So in regards to we can do hard things. Y'all know how I feel about that phrase. And anyway, Susie, welcome back for a special episode.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Although we almost lost our lives coming, but hey, we're here.
We need you all to know that if you are in Jackson in the West Tennessee area, we are recording on one of the days during the infamous snow week that we've just had in the month of January. This episode will release a couple weeks after that. But y'all, it hasn't left us. Like, we know this week well because nobody's worked, nobody's gone to school, all the things. And we're driving in and there's some freezing rain on top of this snow that
we're here.
It's
so
for the
we
people.
risk our lives to be here. So we need you to understand.
It's for the
we're
people.
Crazy.
We are crazy. Anyway, here we are. Okay, Susie.
Yes.
I want you to walk us through something that you decided to do, and just take us through the process. But first, tell everybody why we're here, what we're talking about, and we're just going to go from there because I think I do believe this will be such an encouragement and such a blessing to people listening when it comes to doing hard things. What's your hard thing, Susie? What has been your hard thing? Probably still currently your hard thing.
It is. It is still currently my hard thing. But I want to back up.
Okay.
The last episode, I think I was telling a story about how I fell face down and I sprained my ankle.
Oh,
and then I had to hop up because I was doing something really hard.
That's right. You sure did.
So this is the hard thing.
Yes.
So I got a call, oh gosh, I guess it was October. Yeah, I think it was in October, from the owner of Pure Barre. And she is just awesome, and I adore her.
Our local Pure Barre gal.
Our local Pure Barre
Okay,
here.
Sabrina.
And so she called and she said, hey, I have a question to ask you. You're probably going to say no, but I'll ask you anyway. Have you ever thought about becoming a Pure Barre teacher? And I was like, oh, how interesting. I said, I've thought about it. So she said, I think you would be great at it. And I said, well, tell me why you think I'd be great. I think I caught her off guard. But she came up quickly with some things she thought. I said, okay, let me think about it and let me pray about it. And I said, I have this friend who always talks about doing hard things. And I thought, what's the hardest thing I've done lately? Not really anything. So I started thinking about it. And I had been thinking for a while, or the Lord had been dealing with me for a while, like, what is it that you're doing? How are you using your gifts? What are your gifts? And I always say my spiritual gift is shopping, which I do enjoy. But I do like the physical realm. I've always done physical things. I like to work out. I was a PE teacher in my previous life. And so it just all kind of made sense, but I kept thinking, what's the Lord have for me in this? A friend asked me to do a Bible study along with that, and I thought about it, and I was like, I don't know. I don't really feel like that's where I need to be. But I also felt like women of my age, especially now, this needs to be all ages, but at my age, you need to really, it's a different kind of thinking about becoming physically active. It's being able to stay active and to be able to do daily things that you need to do. And I said this, I called up our daughter one day, I called her and said, hey, Callie, I need to tell you something. I said, if I fall and break both legs, don't get me a lift chair. Just tell me to get up, stand up, you're okay. And she was like, Mom, that's kind of crazy. I said, no, because the research shows that if you get into a lift chair, you get into a walker, soon you can become disabled. You're more likely to because you're not going to have the strength. So it kind of freaked me out a little bit. And so anyway, so I thought maybe I could, that the Lord was calling me to do some things where I could help women of all ages, but specifically my age, because you go to Pure Barre, and it's an amazing workout. I've been going for 6 years. I love it. It's my jam. I love to go there. I love the people there. I love the workout. But you can walk in and see a beautiful 20-year-old teacher doing it, and you think, oh, I could never do that because I'm not 20 anymore. Right. But I feel like if you see someone at my age trying and doing it, then you're like, oh, well, she can do it. Then maybe I can do it. And maybe just helping women know we can stay active, we can stay healthy. We just have to work at it a little harder at this age, because it's not for me to get down to a certain dress size to go to a party. It's for me to be able to function, to be strong, to be able to put on my shoes, to not fall down, to not be hurt, to not, all of those things. So,
well, let me back up and say this. And I remember a couple of different times you kind of like the, if I fall and Callie, don't put me in a lift chair, like we've talked about. You want to be able, and I may have this wrong and correct me, but you said something along the lines of, I want to be able to like stand on one foot and tie my shoe, or I want to be sitting on the ground and be able to get up, not using my hands, whatever the thing is. And I just remember thinking then, and this was probably back in the fall having this conversation, because hello, we're just, in the new year, but I remember thinking, oh yeah, I've thought about that, but it's interesting how you just, for maybe the first half of your life, you consider health one way, and then all of a sudden you hit some point, and everybody's point's different. For me, it probably was when I turned 50. I just began to think about it differently. Probably didn't make a ton of changes, but I'm about to turn 55, which is absolutely insane to say.
It is.
It's crazy to say that number out loud. But then all of a sudden something really does shift. And you and I began having this conversation. I don't even know how you even said to me, you should come to Pure Barre. I didn't even know what Pure Barre was, other than I was highly intimidated by it, because I just was. For whatever reason, I thought everybody was going to be teeny tiny and look like the 20-year-old that didn't struggle. I thought, I don't know if I'm going to fit into that. And you just made me go, or said, hey, let's go. I'll meet you there at that godforsaken 5:30 a.m. hour. And that was last summer.
Now, where are you, Fran? Where are you on your journey?
Well, by the time this airs, I will be over 100 classes.
Where's that meter? Can you push that where it claps?
Yeah, I know. I don't know. Okay, be quiet, everyone. Okay. I think that worked. Oh, it looks like it worked. And so, I knew right away after that first class, this is like no other hard thing I've done. I can get on a treadmill and run. I can do all kinds of other things. But Pure Barre is head to toe, full body workout. From the beginning to the end, we are wearing our body out, if we choose to, or if we can. We're wearing our body out.
We're going to fatigue. Fatiguing those muscles.
Oh, fatiguing them to where they shake, and you think, my legs and arms are going to fall off my body. And so to understand what you're talking about when it comes to Pure Barre, but I'm not even like this is not everybody's thing. Everybody right now, I want them to identify there's something hard that either the Lord has already put in front of you and you're kind of working through that process, or if it's not, I dare you to pray, God, give me a hard thing, push me, challenge me, grow me in an area that is going to cause me some fear, and I'm going to be uncomfortable. He doesn't want us to stay in this comfy space. He wants to push us. And it sounds great in the beginning, and then all of a sudden you're like, okay, here we are.
I'm ready to get out.
So I want people to have a little bit of context of just our relationship with Pure Barre. And then now Sabrina has asked you this. You're kind of navigating through next steps. What happens? Because apparently you've said, okay, maybe I will do this.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I prayed about it, thought about it, talked to Dub about it. A couple of reasons I thought for sure that I needed to do it is that I felt like I could help women.
Yes.
I could just help women in their journey.
Yes.
Whether it's in the gym, whether it's teaching a class, or just walking with a friend, talking with a friend, all of, just
in a physical way, yes. But let me also remind people that you are truly one of the biggest cheerleaders ever on the planet. You really, really are. So it's coming in both ways. Like you can be the teacher and the leader of the class or whatever, walking, whatever it is you're doing with somebody, but you're also just verbally a massive cheerleader and a belief in women that they can do whatever it is that they're being challenged to do.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
You're incredible at that.
I'm so grateful that you have both of those qualities and characteristics. Otherwise, it makes it not as, I don't feel as empowered.
Sure.
If there's no verbal encouragement to go with it. Okay,
so I said yes. And so then she said, you got to go to a training. You can either do it online or go in person. I was like, I better go in person. I'd be chasing butterflies if I'm sitting in front of a computer trying to learn this. So I went, and so it was myself, 5 other young women, and a trainer. And, of course, I look around the room, and I'm like, she's in a sorority. She has on her sorority shirt. So she just graduated. Beautiful, precious young women. And so then we got around to me, and I was like, well, my daughter's older than all of you, but I was like, hey, would y'all like to see my grandkids? Here they are. Aren't they cute? But they were precious. It was about 5 days of really intense. Every day we took a class, and then we broke it down. And it's a very, like, you teach a 55-minute class, but there's a lot that goes into that. It's very well thought out, very well planned. I mean, it's amazing. But I hadn't studied in 40 years. Well, in a few years, and so I was like, how do I even study? How do I learn this? How do I do this? And I vacillate from I'm confident in this to I'm terrified in this, and I'm thinking, okay, all right. And so one of the things I thought about is don't let comparison steal your joy. Like if I'm standing there comparing to beautiful, young, smart, she's like, I've got a year gap and then I'm going to med school. And I'm like, well, you're way smarter than I am if you're even thinking about med school. So, this is easier for you, but it's not for everyone. You just don't let someone else compare, steal your joy. That's not where my joy is.
Of what you believe the Lord has put in front of you, because that'll stop me in my tracks real quick. I'm like, second guess everything. Oh, maybe I made this up. Maybe I'm really not supposed to do this. Maybe this really is for the younger girl. Maybe I really don't have a space or place in the studio.
Right. Yeah.
Oh, devil.
Oh, yeah.
Hush
in your head, telling you over and over, like, okay, this is going to take you twice as long. You're going to have to do. But anyway, I was like, okay. The Lord, if he calls you somewhere, he doesn't make it easy. Just that doesn't mean you weren't called. It doesn't mean you weren't supposed to do it. And it wasn't like, it's going to be difficult for a minute, and then you're going to get through it, and now it's great. So that has not been the case. But anyway, I went through the training, came back, and you have to do this video to pass. And the talk around it is that everybody, lots of people fail the first time. Some people even fail the second time. And so I'm just like terrified. I'm up at the studio practicing. I'm supposed to be saying all this. I don't know how to, I say crazy stuff. I've been taking it for 6 years, and then I'll say something that I'm like, we never say that. Right. I know better than that. But anyway, I get into my own head. And so anyway, the day that I did my video, Precious, the teachers were my students. And, of course, they're amazing. And at one point, it was very spiritual. I almost cried during the middle of the video because I looked around. I was like, this is so beautiful. You are so great. And after it was over, I literally screamed. Like, I screamed for joy. Then I went home and I cried because of all of this emotion. And then you have this pride thing, like, I'm good. What if I fail? Everybody says it's okay, but then I'll be a failure. And the devil's like, you're going to be a failure. And then your friends will know that you didn't do it, But I wasn't a failure. Thankfully, I passed. And so then then you get to start teaching class. And then it's been difficult sometimes. I'm thinking, I'm not giving enough. I messed up here. I didn't do this perfectly. And so I have had to look at it. You're not about perfection. And you're going to keep doing it. And every time I push play on that little record, but for the music, I say a prayer, Lord, it's all through you. And then a couple of days ago, he said, if you're saying this is through me, then why aren't you believing me? Because I have a tendency to say I'm terrible. I mean, after our class, I'll say, I was terrible. That was awful. It was terrible. I did terrible. And I'm like, if he is doing this through me, I am so sorry that I'm saying to him that this is terrible. I need to be like, okay, and this is a platform that I've been able to use, and I tell everybody the only way I'm doing this is through him. That is 100% him, not me. So I'm just still dealing with, I've got to learn these things, do these things, and if I'm relying on him, then I have to really rely on him, and then I have to be careful to say, oh, I'm just terrible. No, I mean, he's gonna continue to see me through. You got to get your mind right with it. You got to keep your commitments. You got to know, okay, this is what I'm called to do. This is where I am in this space. I may not be here forever, but I'm here today, and I'm going to do the very best I can today. And yes, I'm going to make mistakes. I mean,
well, I don't think you make mistakes. I think that because I've been in your class, and the very first class that you taught, I think I could have cried just out of understanding the challenge, the courage, just how brave you were to go through that process and pass that test and become a teacher. But let's talk just a second about the process, because I say it all the live long day. I get super excited about something. I get super fired up about the new thing. I love it. I'm on board with it. I don't even really care how hard it is or what the Lord is asking me to do. But then about day 3 hits, and I'm like, maybe this isn't so fun anymore, and I'll just quit. But I have learned that as soon as we say yes and start leaning into that tension of the reality of this is sweaty, this is not going to be fun, my mind is going to be challenged, whatever the situation is going to be, I don't know what people are going to think about me, whatever. You start leaning into that hard thing and stay there and feel that tension of, okay, I said yes. Other people may hold me accountable to this. It's not just about me anymore. The excitement's worn off. That's a real place to live. And so to push through that and say, okay, I'm going to go to this training. I'm going to figure out how to learn this material, because what the 20-year-old is doing may not be what Susie's doing. And like you said, she may just get it faster and isn't doesn't seem like it's requiring much effort out of her. What was maybe a hard part in the process where you were like, ugh, I don't know if I want to do this. I don't know if I can learn this. I don't know. Where was that for you? And how did you figure out, yes, through the Lord, but okay, I'm really leaning into this. I'm all in. Here we go. I don't care how this ends.
The Lord He speaks to you through people. He sends people to you Callie was really sweet. There was times she would just call and she would, intentionally just sit and listen and be like, Mom, I know you can do this. You're just great at this. Zach even helped me figure out beats and music. I was like, okay, I'm not figuring this out. Of course, Dub is, 100%. He's so supportive. And, you can do this. You're great at this. You've been great at this. Always checking in on me. All of that. Instructors like, hey, this is hard. Nobody realizes it. I almost quit. I cried. Even seasoned instructors that I look at like, oh, she's the greatest, would say things like, oh, I'm doing a new certification and it's so intimidating. I'm like, you're intimidated too? And so people just at the right time saying, hey, I understand this is hard. And just coming along going, okay, you can. And I was like, I can't quit. I mean, that was, even though I would be like, I could have never done this and it would have been great. I mean, I could still just go and do my thing and it'd be great. And I wouldn't have to be, stressed, and I wouldn't have to. At one point, I even said out loud, why did I do this? That was my happy place. I messed up. I was mad at myself for taking away my refuge of where I go and just work out and have friends and, And in my head, I was very critical. And I've apologized to every instructor. I was like, oh, you missed that. Oh, she's offbeat there. That was really left. You should have gone there. Now I'm like, oh, you were so good. That's one of them asked me the other day, did I mess up? I said, you did something different and I liked it, so I'm just going to do what you did. Yeah. You're fantastic. And they all are fantastic. And just, once you get on the other side and you start having to do it, it's like, oh, it's a different.
And I think, too, what makes Pure Barre unique as opposed to just like, let's go back in time, Susie, because back in the day, I'm going to say it was the early 90s, I taught step aerobics.
Oh, of course.
And you could kind of just you would have a routine, but it wasn't like you could say whatever you wanted to say.
Oh, yeah.
As long as you did the routine, okay?
Exactly.
But what makes Pure Barre I think makes what you've done a little extra hard is the fact that they have very specific language, very specific way of teaching. So and for a new person, it was kind of nice because it didn't matter who taught, it was still predictable. And I knew that there were some very common things, common words, common language, common ways happening. But you know what? For me and my older mind, I'd be like, oh God, now not only did you learn the material physically, you also had to learn it vocally, verbally. And that's like another level where you just go, oh gosh, what am I saying? What am I doing? Like how terrifying was that?
Well, and mirroring, I'm like, okay, I got to say left, but I got to go right. And I'm like, well, I
30 years ago,
right.
yes. But right now, I'm like, I don't know. Is this my right, left,
my right,
your right?
left, somebody's...
Who's right? What are we doing?
Exactly. You so hit the nail on the head because at training even, I was like, well, if I could freestyle, we'd be fine.
Oh, 100%.
Freestyle, if I could just come up with it.
That's where I'm my best. Yeah. I am the queen of winging it, but it's still good. Yeah. And so if somebody told me I had to say it a certain way and only, like if we're only going to say it 2 times, Fran, you can't say it 3.
Yeah.
I'd be like, I'm sorry, what? I have to say it at least 4.
Yeah. I've got to do, during the training, I did one thing, and the teacher corrected my word from towards to to towards or something, and it got in my head big time. She didn't mean it. It was totally me in my head, and I was like, I'm going to fail because I can't remember to switch this word, and that's not it at all. But one of the instructors said, for the test out, it's like learning a script, like a play. And I said, oh, great. The only play I was ever in, I had like 3 little lines. I'm a little teapot, short and stout. That was the lines, because I couldn't remember. I mean, no. So I was like, great. That even got in my head and thought, well, you'll never pass now. But it's not that way. It is very, our own language, our own things that are, that you... parameters of how things are done, and that's great because it keeps it like you said, consistent. And I could to the point I'm more experienced, that I could go to another bar and teach.
Right.
And you are going to walk in and get the same thing. And you'll get the same thing
Right.
with each teacher. You get a little flavor of our personalities,
Right.
but you do. And it's just such a total body workout. And it's phenomenal. But yeah, it is very, very specific about things. And so, yeah, if I could have freestyled, I've been like, hey, here we are today.
Welcome to the class.
Welcome to the class.
Here we go.
Here we go.
Okay, so not only have you, I don't want to say, I don't know that anybody's ever accomplished at 100%,
Oh, no.
but you have accomplished taking the test, training, becoming a certified teacher, learning the language, and actually teaching classes. Like, you're there. You're
I am.
doing
I'm on the
it.
schedule.
You were on the schedule. And I just think that, I think as people listening to this, regardless of their age, but I'm specifically considering, well, you know what? This is really any age. Somebody that, like I said at the beginning, they just aren't doing the hard thing. They're not willing to take the risk because they cost you something.
Oh, absolutely.
Taking that risk, doing the hard thing, it costs us time. It costs us, our security. Then all of a sudden we're insecure. And
Yeah, you're putting yourself out there
Yes.
and everybody's
Failure.
or you feel like
yes,
you're,
all of those things. And so I hope that people listen to your story, because I think the people that know you, I do believe this, and we've talked about this before. I'm not sure if it's been on or offline, but we've talked about the fact that people make an assumption about you that you are completely confident, completely secure 100% of the time. Like Susie is just 100% confident in who she is and what she's doing. And I would agree to an extent, because we're human, we're flawed human beings. But this pushed you. I don't know how confidently you walked through life leading up to last October, but you were challenged.
Absolutely. I'm still challenged.
Yes.
I'm still challenged. It's very challenging. But I think, we're at the new year, and I'm thinking about people we all start about, resolutions or new things or whatever. Just reset, kind of a rethink. And then you think of people that say, I always think, diet, exercise. Those are the two things that people say. But you've got to be willing to do the hard thing. I mean, all the magic pills and shots and, all the gimmicks and stuff that have come out.
Right.
I mean, really, if you want the result, you do have to put in
It's up
the
to
hard
you.
work.
It's up to you to do it.
And you are, in your own head, are the one that makes that happen. Whether you let that be the voice of Jesus saying, you can do this. And like in Philippians, he says, you can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. We all know that verse. But Paul's writing that from prison. I'm like he's not over at Starbucks, everything is great. I mean, he's writing that from a place of where he's being oppressed. And I think about that. I think about us thinking, I can do all things through Christ who gives me strength. Not thinking of the context, not thinking really that I can do all things. But like last January, I did that sugar fast, the 40-day sugar fast. And I am a little bit stubborn that I said I will make it 40 days. Now, it might not be nice for 40 days, but I will make it through 40 days. But getting through that and getting to the other side, then it allowed me to make some changes that I felt better, and it was better for my health, and it really did. But I'll have people say, I really want to do that, or I bought the book, and I did one day, and I didn't do, I quit on day 2. Well, you're quitting on yourself. Your head, you're talking to yourself. You're listening to yourself all day. You've got that internal voice in your head saying things. So you go over to the pantry and you make a decision there. Yes, I deserve that cookie, or no, I'm going to shut this door and walk away. I mean, you've got to have that.
Right.
And so, I don't know. I just think we have to reprogram that in our heads. We have to listen like, yes, I can do hard things. And it's not easy. And many times I would be like, why am I doing this? I just made a big mistake. I'm going to let everybody down. I'm going to let Sabrina down. I'm going to let I'm going to let all the other teachers down. I'm just going to let my friends down. They're not going to like my classes. They're going to, I did have someone roll their eyes at me and during a class, and I realized at that moment, I will only look at your feet and your body. I will not look at your face to get the energy back, because I don't want to. And it may not have been that they were upset with me. It may have been whatever.
Right.
So I was like, I got to take that and not be personal with that, and just know that some classes will be phenomenal. Like some classes, I'll walk away and I'm like, that was so great. Or I'll be like, oh, I missed so much in there.
But, hearing you say just now, like, I'm not going to look at your face. I'm going to look only at your, what your body's supposed to be doing. Like, there's such power in remembering and understanding that as people in general, yes, we appreciate people's affirmation. Yes, I can appreciate the encouragement. Like something that Pure Barre does is you all, will call out the people in the class. Like you might say, good job, Fran, or that's great form or whatever. And how quickly we can get in our head and be like, well, she didn't say my name. But you know what? It's not even about that. It's not about it. It's about me, myself, and I choosing in that moment, what I'm doing and how am I going to do it. I don't care who's in the room. Like it really only has to be about me and the Lord. Right. What is the Lord asking of me and my body and myself in this particular time? Because the minute you or I get into that place of, oh, she didn't say my name, or you look at us and go, they didn't tell me great class when it was over. We start second guessing everything and how quickly just something so innocent can shift everything.
Right. It's so true. You just, I 100%. You get the feedback, or you start getting in your head. Like I even had class one day, and there was a woman in there who's fantastic, and afterwards I was like, I'm so sorry. I couldn't remember your name. I just couldn't. I had too much stuff in my head. So you were beautiful. You did great, but I don't remember your name. So that's another that I'm trying to juggle. Like I need to give them feedback, but I got to know what we're doing, where we are,
and keep us on time and correct somebody when they need to be corrected. And like there's so much happening in your mind in 50 minutes that I can promise you. Like the things that all of a sudden you're like, I don't know what I'm doing anymore because my brain can't keep up with all the things. And you're like, oh, shoot, it's been so long. We need to transition into the next thing. Or I don't even remember what we're doing. And so bravo to you. These are the details of your hard thing. And you're still in it because I think you'll be in it until however long, I don't know, but you're still new and it's still requiring a little bit of grit and grind and, the Lord, it's still going to be hard. So I think anybody listening, please, for the love of all things, we beg you to lean into what the Lord has asked you to do.
Absolutely.
And it's not always, hey, go do this mission trip. It may be, hey, I want you to be this because this is where you shine. It's like he took you from the comfortable within your comfortable.
Absolutely.
But kept you in your comfortable, but we're going to grow and change within what's very familiar to you. So it's not always like this brand new thing you've never done before. Right. It could be that it's just right there in front of you and it's requiring some of that sweat, grit, and grind right there. I beg people, don't be afraid to ask the Lord, show me, what is it? And then give me the courage to step out and do it and keep me there.
Absolutely. And I think about young people. I mean, I know you have a lot of young listeners, and it could be whatever it is that you're in and that season of that, you can do it where it's that class, you're in the grind of that class, or you're in nursing school and you've got to take a class, then you've got to stay in it, or you have to retake a class. What is it that's going to make you successful? I mean, the Lord calls you to do that, but you also have to put the work in.
That's right.
You have to put the work in, and you have to, and like I said earlier, if I'm really leaning into Him, then I need to really change my language to I'm terrible, I can't do this, to if He really can do all things through me, then I really have to lean all the way in. I have to all the way through the challenges. I have to see that He is carrying me. Like the story I told about falling and twisting my ankle, I literally cried out and said, Lord, whatever you decide is fine. But, I really would like for you to help me here. I need to get up. I can do everything I could do. My ankle's still swollen. Yeah. It's been swollen the whole time, but I keep on going. But He carried me through that. Yeah. And those tough times that's when you realize when everything's good, you're like, I don't need everything. I got everything. It's all good. So just lean into Him. Read Philippians 4. Read the whole chapter. Understand that it's not in a place of comfort, that it's in the place of the trials, that He's there and that He carries you, and that He will. And if you don't have a trial today, you're what we always say, you're coming out of one or getting ready to go in one, something in all of our lives. So anyway, I'm just grateful to be at least this point, and I say in another year, I should feel a little bit better.
Yeah. Well, every day is better. Yeah, every day
better.
You're showing up. And you're learning and growing. For those of you all that don't know Susie, we talked about nail polish at the beginning. So she's always got her nails done. So the fact that you weren't afraid to get a little dirt under those manicured nails, we can do it, y'all.
Yeah. We can do hard things.
We can do hard things. I'm so very proud of you. I respect you. I look up to you. I'm challenged by you in and out of class. Just grateful for how you know your giftedness. A lot of people need to start right there and figure out what am I good at. But you know your giftings, and you walk empowered in that, so that you can equip other people and encourage other people in their giftings. And the world is better. Jackson is better. Union is better. Anybody that knows you is better because of you and because we know you. So thank you, sister. I will always be cheering you on. The fact that we're saying this, I love to say this, I'm cheering you on at the bar.
I'll see you at the bar.
I'll see you at the bar.
Well, I can't wait for your 100.
I know, everybody.
We're going to celebrate. Oh, you get every milestone, you get a new pair of socks.
Oh, sweet.
You get some sticky socks.
I get some new socks, y'all.
Yeah,
it's worth it.
That's a big thing in Pure Barre.
It is. It is a very important thing in Pure Barre. Okay, if you have questions at all for Susie about doing hard things or about Pure Barre, either one of us could maybe, not necessarily me as much, but she'd love to talk to you about working out, taking care of yourself, older, even some nutrition insight, I think. We're here to help.
Sure.
Okay. We love you guys so much.
Thank you.
Yes, yay. Y'all have a super great day, and we believe in you. You can really do hard things. Have a great day. Thank you so much, Susie Oliver. We love you so much. Okay, everybody, what's your hard thing? We need to know. We want to pray for you. We want to encourage you. We want to cheer you on. We will be there for you. All right. We can do hard things, guys. We can, because of Jesus and one another. We love you so much. Thanks for listening to another episode of Rambling Through Everyday Life with Fran and Angela. We'll see you next time.